Hello, Patricia. Again, we are talking before already. And hello for whoever is watching this video. I welcome you in this space of interview that I'm exploring and doing interview with people. And I I'm in possibility management for a while, and I heard sometimes about you, Patricia, from the books you are spreading the word and some spaces that you hold. And I never had the opportunity to talk with you directly face to face and having questions and getting to know. So I will get to know each other now and we are recording that. So this is about this space. And
Yeah.
yes, I'm here.
Yeah, let me say thank you first for this opportunity and for reaching out to me and saying hello also to everyone who's watching and listening.
Yes. Mm. I want to start as a usual thing of asking from you, like, what is behind this name Patricia? Not exactly in the meaning, but this person that is using this name, like Patricia, you said you're living now in Germany and you're part Italy, also, and that you've been in this game world of possibility management, but SM also in another spaces. So I invite you to start bringing a bit of you, like this person that I'm talking here, the baby from box starting, and then you going wherever you want.
Wow, the biggest question in the beginning. Phew, where do I start? Yeah, my name is Patricia, and as I told you before, I'm half Italian and half German, whatever that is supposed to mean. In regard to my connection to possibility management, it means that I can research about two cultural boxes, the German box and the Italian box, and perhaps I'm not so much identified with the country box like that, but I can look with one smiling eye on the Italian box, and I could look with one smiling eye on the German box and pick the things that are useful for me or that I like. Yes, and yeah, where do I start? I'm a trainer and a coach already for a long time. I did different things beforehand. I I struggled from my childhood on. I struggled for to find my passion and my vocation, and it needed a little bit of time to find out what my vocation and what my purpose is. And after some other tries or try and error, I finally found out that I'm really passionate. I'm a really passionate learner, and this brought me in the end, I don't know if it is the end, but to the point that I'm a trainer and a coach, and accompany people, for example, finding their purpose or finding their vocation, and setting free the potential that is within them and is still within them and waits for being how do I say in English, to being freed, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like unfolding, like coming out.
Unfolding. Yeah, this is the right word. Yeah, this is the right word.
Mhm. And this come a lot of pictures of seeds to me. It's like this unfolding these seeds and that you found inside of yourself this passion to accompany people in this process. And the question that is coming is, what does it take to a seed become a tree? What does it take to mm, what does it take to, like in the earth, a seed to becoming a tree, and also in the heart of human beings, as you have been this path of accompanying people of this unfolding, of this passion, of this vacation in your own path, and also in the people that you are working with in the last months or years.
Yeah. Yeah, what does a seed need to become a tree? And I would say a seed needs the right the right space. It needs space. It needs water. It needs air. It needs the nourishment from the earth, so that it can grow. And sometimes there are obstacles. Sometimes the seed is too close to another tree, or there is not enough nourishment in the earth, and that keeps the seed from really growing into its. Because I believe that in the seed there's already the the form of the tree. It's already there. The energy,
like the potential.
Yeah, the potential is already there, and it's it's the vocation of the seed to grow into that form. So, but sometimes there are obstacles, and it's the same. I think it's the same for us. There is something. There is a purpose, or a form, a potential when we come into this world. And then there are obstacles. There's a certain culture, or a certain space, and things that keep us from growing, perhaps. And my job is I'm an evolutionary crust blaster, to blast the crusts so that the seed can grow and the potential can be unfolded.
And cross blaster is
we are very similar to trees.
Yeah, and this thing that you said, a cross blaster, is the name of this. You are evolutionary
crust blaster. I'm a crust blaster.
It's like this, working this in these blocks, in these these obstacles in between the tree to emerge from.
Yes. Perhaps you know these pictures of concrete streets or something. The gray concrete, thick gray concrete, and then it's broken at a certain point. It's broken, and a yellow flower is coming through. So this is what I'm doing. This is I'm breaking the crust where aliveness isn't anymore, or which is blocking the life, or that what is alive in you, and I blast it so that it can come through again. So this is my job, and it took me a little bit to find out that this is my job.
It's like I had this experience my grandma's house, where she have a garden with concrete basically, and the wall, and the in between. I was visiting her 4 days ago. Yes, and there was, in between the wall and the concrete, there was a crack, and in this crack there was a tomatoes. And she told me that she was washing a pot one day of salad there, because the water was not, there was no water anymore in the sink, and she threw the liquid of the washing, and the liquid went to this crack, and then she noticed that was growing some grass. She said that was grass, and out of the blue she saw this yellow flower growing in this grass. And then she come like some 2 weeks later, and there was green tomatoes there. Yes. And then she told me this legend. It was like, wow. this thing growing between this crack of this two concrete thing. And it was so shocking for me. Like I get so surprised and alive and joyful and ecstasy seeing that, like that between the crack growing something that can be feed, that can feed myself.
Yeah.
And we harvest these tomatoes and did a lunch together. It was like, wow, this is was astonishing for me. And when you were sharing about your job, came this memory from my grandma's house where I experienced that.
Yeah. Yeah, and we can take this as a metaphor or as a picture of our modern culture. The concrete is the modern culture where we think we are above nature and we inhabit nature and we control it and dominate it. But we are part of nature, and even if we put the concrete and we try to dominate everything, aliveness will come through. Yeah, will crack through. It is aliveness is a force that is more powerful than the concrete.
The aliveness is a force more powerful than the concrete.
Yeah, and we are in our modern culture. We see aliveness sometimes as a problem because aliveness doesn't it isn't so easy to handle. Yeah, isn't so easy to dominate. Aliveness is also chaotic, a little bit chaotic, and we want in our culture of industrialization, we want to have control over everything. So aliveness is seen as a problem, and therefore we try to manage it. But it's aliveness is alive. Is life, and life is not controllable. And I see so many people who are also coming for me for coaching, for example. They are hungry for aliveness. They are hungry for the purpose, for their purpose. So it's yeah. As you said, yeah, this tomato is something to nourish, yeah, something to feed us, and we are. I don't know if it is right English. I try to say we alienated. We yeah, we got away from this, from that we are part of nature, and aliveness is not a problem, but aliveness is the solution. And we are hungry for that because we are missing it.
Where do you see that this aliveness come from inside of a human being, like inside of you, or inside of each one of us, like, or yeah, where do you see that come from, this force that is not controllable and that is it's from mother culture is try to control because it's chaotic, because it's alive, and because we've been got separated from Gaia, like we've been learning to separate it from Gaia to work to to feed the needs that were created by mother culture. Like to have a car is a need that were created by mother culture. So go to work to to meet this need that were created, because before
Yes.
this there was not there, and the money also was something that was not there before and were invented, and this producing of needing to go to somewhere else that is not nature, the separation, and then this trying to controlling that. And how do you see this aliveness coming from inside? Where does it come from? What is it? I don't think that is definition about aliveness, but mm, yeah, it's what I have. Like, where come
Yeah,
from this thing inside of you?
I think this is aliveness is, or it is like the driving force of nature. And when I look out the window, there's the trees are there, and they are becoming green and greener and greener, and it's I think this is part of our the of Gaia, yeah, of the planet, and everything on this planet is about aliveness. Yeah, there are other planets where life is not possible, but here on Earth, the the conditions are in a way that life is possible. So it's it's the for me it's the yeah the mm, the the center of a cell, the core. It's the core of everything, aliveness and evolution.
Mm.
Because life is not standing still, never. It's always going on, evolving.
Mm.
This would be my answer.
Yes. And from this core, what when this force of the core is not emerging because of these blocks that you shared, like that is compressing and containing and controlling, this force is being contained from inside and is not in coming out, it's not unfolding, it's not spreading out. mm, for who is watching, and also for me is the real question for me, that I've been sometimes mixing aliveness with pressure.
You're mixing aliveness with pressure.
Yes, I will contextualize more. It's like this force that is intense and that is come from inside, and to me it's this experience, and from experience this force of creation, of exploring and going out and making small conversations alive. Like, what does it this look like? What is the taste? What is the smell? I want to touch, I want to feel, I want to dive into that. And this kind of intensity that I can feel inside of me bubbling up from this core that you said, that is this life that is moving forward. And at the same time, the another part, I'm noticing my research how my survival strategies during my life about using this force as a pressure to create, to do, to be a doer. And I see that this comes from a lot from school, especially for me and my family, about being this doer. And I see some friends, some people on my team inside of the context of possibility management, especially transforming evolution or transformation as this pushing force of doing and feeding the gremlin with this I have to do, I have to be different, I have to transform, I have to, and this I have to coming together and glued with that. And I see that uh, the real question is coming more clear, the distinction between aliveness and this thing that sometimes I mixed inside of myself as aliveness. That, no, I'm alive, I'm creating, but then I noticed that it's from this pressure. And then I getting myself, starving myself, or beating, or these scrambling things of beating up myself. I'm not there yet. What is the next step? And it came with this taste of pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. Now I understand what you mean. And yes, I know that too. Mm, as aliveness is one of my bright principles, I also I used give my center away to aliveness, for example, also. So this is also what you describe. So and identifying with what myself with what I'm able to create, and so on, and exhausting myself. But when we look at aliveness and nature, for example, then there are cycles. The tree is not always, at least in Germany, the tree is not always green, and there is winter, and death is also part of life. So there are cycles, and when we use this the aliveness as a to feed our gremlin and make pressure behind it, then we are again trying to control aliveness. And aliveness is not going like that. Life is going like that, or like that. So then we are then we are using this how do I say, the bright principle for gremlin purposes, or using it within our survival strategies.
Yes.
And then we are exhausted. It's when we look at the agriculture, at modern agriculture, there's also this this try to get the most out of the soil, for example. And when we put dünger, we put fertilizer on the land, so that the plants grow more, or we try to change the genes of the plants so that they produce fruit several times a year, and so on. So this is the same thing as you describe. It's trying to control aliveness so that a lot of production, that we produce a lot, that we can make money out of that. And this is part of part of modern culture. And this brings us to exhaustion.
Yes, exhaustion inside and outside, right? Like this exhaustion, the exhaustion inside of me as a human being that is raping my inner resources to serve a shadow purpose of, for me, the shadow purpose that comes from my gremlin is this competition, to constantly competing with me or with someone. That this you said giving the center away to aliveness, and for me it's like this giving the center away to the result, like to the another people, the out reference of what I'm doing. And I see that this is killing Gaia inside me, and as me at part Gaia, and also outside as extracting the resources, and this child way of relating with nature, of extracting and taking out, and monoculture of producing and more and more and more.
Yeah.
And I feel sad of noticing how this way of dealing and relating with Gaia, it's inside of me, that I see out, it's inside of me, the way I relate with time, the way I relate with aliveness, that I've been experienced as one of my bright principles. Also, I'm doing these experiments about bright principles, and like trying some parts, and I'm trying one of this that is aliveness, and it's like raping from aliveness to serve to something else. And when you say about the cycles, I is this about, especially as being a woman, this anger towards relaxing and stopping when it's my cycle, like in my inner cycle. And I already notice how I get angry when I'm in my period of resting, that my body wants to rest. And because of this addiction in my system of doing, I'm getting angry about my womb of of asking me to stop. Like you were once I was having a conversation with my woman. I said, I feel angry because you are making me to stop. And then it was crazy because the cramps become bigger because it was like I almost myself fighting with this energy of cycle inside of me. I'm fighting with aliveness, basically. It's coming now.
Yes. Yes, and it's the same for me. It's part of our modern culture, and becoming aware of that with the time gives us the possibility, or the possibility to change our context, our behavior, our relationship with aliveness and with Gaia and with nature and with ourselves.
And for you now that you said that you can relate with that, what does it take to you to shift this relating with nature and with you relate cycles and connecting with the aliveness as this bright principle as you sorcering that instead giving it to a gremlin to create that how have been your experimentation about that?
So the first step for me, and I think the first step is always becoming aware of that, becoming aware of the bright principles, of becoming aware of your shadow principles, and becoming aware of your survival strategies. Because if you're not aware of that, then you have no choice. You're just reacting. And then really to start to put a part of your attention on what you're doing and on what you're thinking and on what you're feeling, and becoming a little bit slower, so that you're not in risking to just react out of your habits. So becoming a little bit slower, so that you can get yourself when again you step over your need to rest, for example, or you are again trying to create something big or something great. Or as for me, I'm very easy to inspire. I always say yes when somebody asks me, are you with me in that project? And I say yes, and without really making a little stop and breathing and asking myself, do I really want to do that? And is it the time now to do that or not? So what have I said? Becoming aware, becoming a little bit slower, and not judging yourself, not trying to judge then again to judge yourself because you're not perfect in this regard. So yeah, I think these are the three main steps to change into this, how do I say, into this going more with nature and not against it, like it is normal in our culture.
I'm experienced now this getting is lower and to see what's going on and what is the next thing, and automatically I notice this pressure next thing, and it's interesting to notice the speed inside going slower also relating with the breathing, with the words, the thoughts becoming slower also.
Yeah. And this, what comes to my mind is, for example, I'm doing women's outdoor labs together with Katerina, a trainer colleague. And in these women's outdoor labs, we are 4 days, we are in nature, outside. So the whole lab, the whole training is outside. And the first time we did it, I don't know, have you done a lab so far, Gabriela?
I
Have you
did,
attended a lab?
I did two. I did once in Portugal
Okay.
and in Brazil, but never outside, as in the nature.
So you know that in the lab that we are, the agenda is written in a way that you are faster than time, and yeah. So the first time we did the outdoor lab, the outdoor women's lab, we tried to stick to this lab, to the normal lab agenda, and it was not possible. So on the first day at about 5 o'clock, we started at 7. About 5 o'clock, we were all exhausted. And then it became clear to us, nature has a different speed. Nature has a different rhythm. And holding space in nature is completely different than holding space in a physical space. And then we started to adapt to this different speed, to the different speed of nature. And this was such a shift. And at the same time, we all came to this point where we were afraid that we were just pausing and relaxing. that there was this thought pattern within us that if we are adapt to this slower speed, that we're not having the same results, or yeah, you know, this pattern of being productive and so on was alive in us. And so we recognized it, we realized it, that it is there, and but that we were afraid to let go of that and to trust that perhaps in nature, outside, space holding is something different and works differently. And then after trying it, we found out that it works. It works in a different way.
And what did work different when you started to respect this flow of the time? What shifted exactly in this way? Is that fitting something from another kind of space to this space that were happening?
Yeah, that. And things were unfolding naturally. So spaces opened up. The next space, when it was time for the next space to emerge, it started to open up. And then we used the space, for example, then a process space started, and then we went through the process space, and then the space closed naturally when it was over, and then we were hungry, and then the lunch making space opened up, and then we went all together to do lunch, and then we ate, and then we need a little nap space opened up, and then we were lying on the meadow all together, huddled all together, and slept for half an hour, and then one after the other woke up again, and then the next space opened. So it was not the agenda, but the natural flow of the natural flow that kept us going.
And I'm hearing also that it opened up space for the impulses, like the natural impulses inside of the group and inside of the collective.
Yeah,
what is the
natural
impulse of
necessity.
So I'm getting that creating space to go in this speed of nature, open space to finding the real necessity of inside of you also.
Yes. And with the time, from one, we hold space for a women's outdoor lab once a year, and from year to year we were more daring. Then in the next year we put away our watches, for example, at the beginning of the lab, and still we tried to, or we were committed to, for example, to meet at 7 a.m. for sitting. So it was so the next step was to grow together as an organism, so that you energetically feel when it is time to go to the sitting space. For example, you are sleeping in the wood, and or in your tent or on the meadow, yeah, and you don't have a watch, but you start to feel when it is time that the collective, the community starts to move, for example, towards the sitting space in the morning. So, and then the next level and the next level. So every year we expanded this experiment to commit to the rhythm of nature, or to the speed of nature.
Yes, and the speed of nature when it's in the city, especially, I I assume that is this pain or this challenging also of keeping this connection while while that, like I've been as a nomad, and as a nomad I in the last 1 year and a half I've been traveling to different places, some places more more in the city, like big cities, and another places more in the in more country city countryside. It's like the cities that is not, is more have more trees and more nature around. And I noticed that when I'm the epicenter of the cities, it's really hard to keep connected with the time of nature. And this is this question I have about the center, like, okay, if I have my center with me, the authority, if I have my inner authority, I can create this connection whenever I am. And at the same time, I'm figuring out with this construct that in the cities, this this finding this speed is really really hard. And with that, I'm finding how it's important for me also to be in nature, to really be outside, and to reconnect with this part inside of myself as human being, with my energetic, especially with my energetic body, how my energetic body change and shift, because I've been researching how the energetic body is this perception of time also, and this connection with nature when it's getting dark, when it's getting early, the time to wake up, the time to sleep, that is coming from my biologic body, not from the idea that I have to sleep now, I have to wake up now. And I'm so turned on and curious about doing like these spaces, these transformational spaces in nature, of to experience this transformation and connected with nature from this survival strategy that I found inside of myself that I shared with you. Of this coming back to home somehow, instead of feeling so disconnected from life and from Gaia. And when I say Gaia, sometimes I think that this something abstract, but I think about seeing the animals and seeing the tree and seeing the rain and being the rain and all the things that I get a rupture And I feel sad because as human being, I can experience this rupture happening so many levels in relating with people, in the work with feelings, in the expressing myself. And this is something that touched me deeply, this rupture with life, this rupture with this natural following of life, um, as human, as part of this organism that had the specific conditions to make everything happen.
Yeah. And I think we can only stand this rupture as long as we make ourselves numb, as long as we don't feel anything. And as soon as we start to feel again, then it becomes unbearable. I once had I was once giving a talk about feelings, and there was an elderly man in the audience, and I talked about the numbness bar and how we make ourselves numb. And he was a founder of the Green Party in Germany. The Green Party, the party who is caring for the environment. And he raised his hand and he said, "Yes, I'm the founder of the Green Party, and if I wouldn't make myself numb, I wouldn't I don't think he said survive, but I couldn't really stand, or I don't find the right word, what is happening with nature, what we are doing with nature. I couldn't aushalten. I couldn't, don't find the right word.
I could get the sense like he couldn't experience or be with that.
Yeah, he would die if he, or yeah, if he was able to feel the pain, then he couldn't yeah, I don't know the word.
And what happened then in with this person that you said that you were saying about the numbness bar?
Yeah, he expressed his sadness in this space where all these people were sitting.
And the purpose of this green party was to work about the environment. What is the
Yeah, it is still there, and it's a little bit difficult, in a culture. Mm, the context determines what is possible, and a culture has a certain context. So even now the Green Party is is together with the Social Party is leading Germany. It's in the lead, but the context determines what is possible. So they have to adapt to the other parties and to adapt what the different interests want. The economy and and it is so they cannot really do what they really want to do for nature. This is the context determines what's possible, so the culture determines what's possible, and it's good to have them, and
yes,
yeah,
and
but
being
they don't reach the goals that they really want to bring into the country or the culture.
and when he's numb, or what means not feeling the sadness, he is not able to change the context. So
Yeah,
what have been experienced,
yeah.
is noticing is that when people it's so numb, and numbness is this artifact from mother culture, this artifact to being mother culture. Because otherwise, in mother culture, if you're not numb, you're not survive. This is what this man said, and that I can clearly see when I was in a train in São Paulo, and I in the train was 5 a.m. Everyone going to work. The train totally crowded, and everyone like with this speed of going to work. And São Paulo is the epicenter in Brazil, like New York, like the work city. People wake up 4 or 5 and go to home at 10. And I did the experiment of trying to lower my numbness bar, like getting out my phones and trying to low down my numbness bar. And it was unbearable of being there, sitting really close to people and lowering my numbness bar and and keep being able to stand up there. Like my body started to I started to cry, and I started just to try to like I was not able to stand up. And this is the thread that I'm taking from the conversation about this feeling and recovering the aliveness, because the feeling reconnecting with the feelings, I think it's so connected with this being alive again, is this key to change the context and change the culture. So feeling is a taking your feelings back is a revolutionary act, because as soon that you can feel again your feelings, you can change something. You can create another context that determines that something else is possible. That this green party that is working about environment and changing something about the environment is not fitting anymore in that. And this sadness could be the driver to create something else.
Absolutely. The sadness and the anger and the fear and the joy.
Yes.
Yeah, and not only the pain behind it, behind the feelings, because now you said the word I was looking for. It becomes unbearable because of the pain, but also the power that is in the feelings. So the pain is perhaps the information that I get, and also the motivation to change something, and then the power that is within the feelings, like the power of the rage, or the power of the sadness, or the power of the fear. We can use to create something else.
Could you say more about this distinction or this difference between this power of the feeling and the pain of the feeling?
Yeah, I don't know if there is a distinction. Perhaps the pain is the is the fuel, or how do I say that? Yeah, I perhaps like that. For example, if I'm sad about when I'm looking at the pictures of the oceans full of plastic, for example, I really become very sad, and I'm crying. So the pain about it moves me, can move me to do something, and the power of the sadness I can use it to connect with other people, for example, with you, and talk with you, or talk from the pain or from the heart, so that other people can feel it too, and then we can do something together, because we are all touched. Yeah. Or if I'm angry about it, then the anger, the first thing is the pain of the anger, and the pain makes me move. It's like the motivation to do something, but I can use the anger to set a boundary, to say no, to be clear, and so on. So I would say this is the difference. The pain gives me the information there's something not okay here, or there's something I'm missing, or I want to have differently, or there is something I'm what's the yeah, the information of the fear is that I'm something else is needed, or it could happen that something that I love will go down, like nature, it will die. So I use the power of the fear also to invent something, or to do something differently, or to be awake, and so on. So this for me is the difference between the pain, which makes, yeah, it's like the driving force, and the power is for what I can use the feeling.
Yes, like the resource, the direction of the resource.
Yeah.
Yes, this is learning to use this archetypal force to create something, to 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 I'm using it sometimes create as do, but I think it's different. Create and do. Like do is more like something that I see as that is this action, and create I think come from this emergence of something like this transforming this pain in something else that is not just the pain, that it is this phase one of feeling that it's the pain a lot about myself and the process that I'm seeing, and coming more like to me perspective, and shifting to this, you accessing the pain, and through the pain going to outside to create something in relating with another person, or with myself, or with a project, or with something else that is the second or third perspective from that is more than me, just me. Because of me, I'm feeling that. And yeah. And I'm go.
Keep going.
I would say just about the time, because we agreed about 1 hour, and then now it's 5 for you and 12 for me. So just to bring that to the table, the time, and I'm available more 10 minutes to start to go to the end, but directly into the end.
Good idea. Now, what I wanted to add is, for me, doing is anger power, and creating is fear, magician power. So warrior power and magician power. Could also be a distinction.
Yes.
Doing is going into action.
And the creation go more is like a tentaculus, more as magician, like what is not there before, and now it's there.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, as you see, I combine. I cannot do differently than combine what I've learned in possibility management with the with the nature, or with the power and the magic of the realm of nature. So I would say it like that.
You are the translator of possibility management into the nature. Kind of way of saying that in other words, maybe. Yeah. Thank you, Patricia, for this space we created, and had this beautiful, I feel nourished from getting to know you and connecting with you now in this space. I appreciate the deepness, the heart, and the quality of heart that you bring in your presence, and the Gaia, this principle of Gaia in you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you too, Gabriela, for this nice conversation. And I wanted to ask you all the time about your earrings. Do they have a meaning or something? A meaning for you? Do they have a
Yes,
story? Is there a story about
they
it?
have a story. These wears come from Amazon. I consider that was my first initiation, kind of. I was going to Amazon for 2 weeks. Back then I was in university doing tourism, and I entered to a team of biologists to research the field of Amazon, about how the tourism was messed up with
Affected?
the Amazon. And traveled there for 2 weeks, and in these 2 weeks, for 1 week we spent in the hammock in the middle of the jungle, and there was two indigenous that were with us, accompanying us in the journey of researching the bioma and the flora and how the tourism interacted there. And we had a bonfire. I don't know, it was I would say initiation, because was this indigenous creating, bringing the stories of then of the feud of what they lived there, what they come through when the colonization come, and we had this all night on the fire, and in the end I was having a conversation about life, about animals, about things with this indigenous, with Kanini, and Kanini in the end gave me this presents, and he gave it me, and he said, this is your connection with this earth that you are with your foot. And this was my, like, this travel by itself was a huge initiation. There was this shift. I decided to quit college, to get out of university and go explore life. So
Cool.
this is the stories behind it.
Thank you. They were catching my attention, and I thought that there was some story behind it. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yeah, cool. Yeah, and perhaps we have another occasion to talk about the Vision Quest Lab, if you like.
Yes, I'm totally open. I love it to do that. And I want to keep going with this kind of space. I get so nourished, and to get to know, and to create from these questions that come from now, and exploring new territories. So yes, and we see each other in 17th of May, that we do this.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I invite
cool.
you also, if you want to come in 17 May at 3 p.m. set. There will be this Ask Us Anything, like space to bring questions about the Vision Quest Lab that will take place in August, that Patricia and Cornelius will hold space for. So you are invited to this space.
Come and ask us
Anything.
anything.
Bye, Patricia.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Amazing day. Bye.
Bye.